Annyeonghaseyo, this is meowmurai. Let's check out the Toaplan Arcade Collection Volume 1 running on Nintendo Switch 2. Alright, so we've actually covered these games as they came out individually in Japan, but now that they come over to North America, they're divided into two collections at the price of one of these collections from Japan. So yeah, we're getting a much better deal over here, although we had to wait years for these to come over. But we've got Flying Shark, original Flying Shark, Fire Shark, the sequel. We've got the original Tiger Heli, and it's a semi-sequel to Cobra. We've got Outzone, which is not a game that's really super well known outside of the shmup community. And then this is Fixate. Is that what it is? I think what it is. Batsugun, a pretty legendary game, especially if you were around during the Saturn shmup era. And then Batsugun Special Version, along with Dagun. So yeah, lots of games in this collection. Let's go by one, and this is Flying Shark. Some of these games may feel a little dated, because they're significantly older, especially when we're talking about Fire Shark and Tiger Heli. But a little bit of piece of history, and it does show you the evolution of Toaplan and their shmup philosophy as time went on. So we do North American, we do the Japanese, Sky Shark. I guess it was called Sky Shark at some point in time. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I think the NES version is what I know. Okay, yeah, let's check out the original Flying Shark. And of course, since it is essentially M2 making these, we get all the nice gadgets on the side. We have the options here. We have dip switches for the lives and difficulty, whether or not you can continue. We can turn on the widescreen mode, which I think gives us a little bit more on the side. The original frame rate, which I believe includes the slowdown that was in the original game. We can turn it off to have it be more consistent, but the game may or may not be pretty difficult depending on what the game was. We'll leave it at the original frame rate. I don't mind the slowdown. I think it's kind of part of the charm of some of the games, although again, you can turn that off if you want. You can turn the frames on and off. I like the frame off personally. Then yeah, we can pick what's on the side of the pillars here. Or we can turn them completely off, which is very, very strange, actually. And then some additional filters. Good stuff overall. Now, personally, I love all the games in these collections, but I was around as a kid during the time that these were released, so they're very familiar to me. I certainly don't mind some of the dated gameplay. But it is not for everyone, except for some of the later games, obviously. So we're talking about Fire Shark or Batsugun. And some of the the games that were in the 16-bit era, 32-bit era. I think a lot of people will be a little bit more comfortable with those games. Yeah, this era can be a little hard for people just because of the speed of the game is not super duper fast like what we're used to in a modern shmup. But the speed was not unusual for this time. It's not like this was a slow-playing game, or considered a slow-playing game at the time of its release. I'm actually happy they went with pure black pillow boxes on the side. Even the Gradius collection didn't allow us to do that. We have to suffer with some gray pillow boxes. Like, why? I don't know why that had to be a thing the way it is. Of course, these games were very, very difficult, you know, just as a function of being an arcade game where you may only have the attention of your customer for a couple minutes. And so you had to give them an experience that would last them and keep them coming back for more, putting more money in. So these games were never about balance. And so they're pretty difficult until you start learning the patterns. And even then, the games had a bit of a pattern shake-up here and there. So that you couldn't just fully memorize every single pattern, have it behave the exact same way every single time. You know, a little bit of variance here and there. Of course, nowadays we would have the game run faster, there'd be more bullets on the screen. I also think the bullet colors would be a little bit more higher contrast. But that's more like modern day design talking. And I wish we had time to go through every single one of these, but there are a lot of versions of these games that we have to cover. And there are 2 of these collections, so this is not going to be a nice, small, simple stream, unfortunately. So again, it might be kind of difficult for people to buy into the original Sky Shark. But you know, it holds a place in history, and it's still very, very well designed. Let's see the Japanese version. It's actually they started with the world version first. And I think this is going to be largely the same. Maybe the difficulty adjustment's a little bit different. Because as they release these games in each region, they change the difficulty, largely based on the feedback of how the game did in its launch territory. A lot of games that came over from Japan over to the US arcades, they tended to be harder games. They say it's because American audiences desired harder games, but I think they just wanted to make more money to make up for the cost of distributing and manufacturing over here, importing, exporting the games out to different territories. It's more expensive to do so than just staying inside the Japanese territory and selling your game there. This is just a little bit easier than the Flying Shark version, the world version. It's funny to think that these came out so many years later after their initial releases in Switch 1 Japanese eShop and physical editions. Of course, there's physical editions of these as well. Like I said, it's many years later that we get this. Although to make up for it, the price is just the cost of one single game or one single pack of games that were available in Japan. Like I said, we've covered these games before in their original releases. But it's nice. It's nice that it's finally over here. I actually never thought they were going to bring these over with all these Toaplan games. Oh, hey, Metal Wolf. Of course, I call this company Toaplan, like Soapland. But I guess that's not the correct pronunciation. I guess Toaplan is how the Japanese would pronounce it. But you know, that's never stopped an American from mispronouncing something based on how something should sound in its native language. There's one thing that Americans are good at is telling other people how to pronounce their own words and chastising them for not pronouncing it the right way. Ah, oh my gosh. It's like, no, they're saying it the right way in their language. It's definitely an easier game, this version. Though easy's relative. I mean, it's still a challenging game, you know, which would be very, very difficult to get through with one credit, though it is possible. But not without a lot of practice, which with this collection, yeah, you have the opportunity to have that amount of practice. And, you know, not have to blow $20 at a time when you can go to an arcade. And yeah, it's nice that they have all these versions. Let's see the North American release under Strike Shark. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the same as the other versions, with the exception of the difficulty adjustment. I'm gonna guess this is the hardest version of all of them. As I said, as North American players, I mean, we kind of got screwed on the balance. Just because, you know, they would see how Japanese players responded and you know, take action if people were having too easy of a time playing the game. Made sure to adjust that difficulty. I think it's pretty rare when the game comes out in North America that the game is easier. I can't think of any off the top of my head. You know, I'm sure there's at least one or two out there. Some that we've even covered, and I just can't remember. Given the nature of my channel, I'm just covering so much stuff. I should just make life easier on myself and, you know, just play, you know, Minecraft or Fortnite or, you know, something. And just have that be the only content, you know. But I don't think that's fun. It's gonna have a little variety in life. And in your gaming, too. I wish the bullets were a different color. I mean, that definitely sticks out in my mind. We would definitely make the bullets a different color if this was designed today. Yellowish on greenish is pretty hard for me, even outside of my color blindness. Yeah. Son of a bitch. I mean, to me, these are my favorite kinds of Souls-like difficulties is traps. Cut our teeth on this kind of difficulty early in our gaming career. You know. Didn't have to wear it on our sleeve. You know, it's just how games work. Because they need to make money. You know, I mean, technically these games are not long games, you know. At most, you might play these games for, you know, 20 to or 15 to 20 minutes for a first loop. Then you just keep playing loops until you run out of credits. Run out of lives. I mean, that was gameplay back then. You know, and gameplay's evolved quite a bit nowadays, so something like that just wouldn't fly now. That's why Schmuck can continue to struggle. Though we've sort of seen a resurgence of that kind of gameplay with something like, you know, Vampire Saviors. That is very much an arcade game in the spirit of, you know, the 90s. But giving you, you know, the modern stat building. And the replayability. Oh my god. Hi. So many letters it allows. Yeah, largely the same. Not too much different there. Fire Shark, I think those who own the Genesis in the early days are probably pretty familiar with this one. You know, same, or same. Although that version was also created by Toaplan. You know, they have their own people make that version, but it does play differently. We can change the region. We'll just leave it in Japan for now. Do this to all games. It's nice to have a universal. Or at least the filters are universal. Of course, I love this game too. Although I'm the most familiar with the Mega Drive, you know, Genesis version, which I think is the most balanced. This arcade game is pretty tough. And it's 100 levels, so it's a definitely a longer experience than most games of this era. fire weapon, the ultimate weapon. Oh, I lost it. I think they really improved the music quite a bit on the web driver. Yeah, you guys know how much I love shmups. Yeah, maybe you guys are sick of me playing these things all the time. Or whenever something comes out. But yeah, it's still my favorite genre. Can't let it go. I'm also excited when a new one comes out. That's really good. That has the same design principles as these games in the late 90s. A lot of people get shmups wrong. Thinking that they're very simple kind of games, and they're definitely not. To get it right is hard. It's just like when they tried to release beat-em-ups, modern-day beat-em-ups, and it seems like nobody can really get them right. Very few modern-day beat-em-ups are really any fun to play. Oh, it's the one-player version of Same. Okay, and then there's a two-player version, I guess. Oh, yeah, didn't even see it. Oh, that's right. This is checkpoint based. It's not like Fire Shark, where you could continue in place. Don't even see what hits me. Yeah, you can see the bomb behaves different too. Different animation as well. Okay, let's see. Semi 2-player? What is this? I don't think it's 2-player simultaneous. I don't think the game was ever designed like that. Never mind, I guess it is. Interesting, I never knew this version existed. Where you can actually have 2 fire sharks on the screen. I've certainly never seen it in real life. Usually a game like this, if it's a 2-player game, you play one at a time, right? So this one's in place too. See if we can keep the fire. Who knows? Nope. Looks like we grabbed the default one. Screw me. Two-player fire shark. I have no idea. Okay, OG Tiger Heli. We only got one version of this. Again, I think a modern audience would have a little trouble with this one because it is a slower paced game. I still love it, but it's a lot of nostalgia speaking there. Oh wait, is that a level skip? What the heck happened there? I didn't mean to do that. Wow. Okay. Not much to show you on that one. The, the game's hard. Actually, the rapid fire doesn't work in this one. Unless I'm misunderstanding the controls. Yeah, auto fire doesn't work in this one. Or it works for a second and then it stops working. Huh. I don't remember that being a problem in the original Japanese release. But Twin Cobra, this is actually one of my favorite games of all time. I love the PC Engine version of this. And the NES version. The NES version is also a classic. Listen to that music though. That's when Toaplan started rocking out, yeah? And I felt that this was a big deal back in the old days. But I don't know if it actually did well or not. I like this widescreen option instead of the screen scrolling left and right. I think technically that makes the game harder though, since enemies can just instantly appear on the sides. But it looks nicer to have that wider field of view, in my opinion. That's a good thing there's so many other versions of this game to show you. My first credit is, was that like 2 minutes? Not impressive. Yes, I know I love the game, but didn't say I was good at it. Of course, we have Ultimate Tiger, instead of Twin Cobra, you know, the original name. That's right, this version is checkpoint based. Ugh, it's so easy to get suckered into where they want you to go. And it is interesting to see the differences and how things change over time. Alright, Outzone. This is interesting to see this here. There's the beta version in here too, huh? Very interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how well known this game is outside of the hardcore shmup audience. I haven't even played this a lot myself. So, you know, outside of when this originally came out in Japan. Bit of a hidden gem. I think this one features a person running around instead of a spaceship. That's right. Cool. More of a running gun, I guess is what we would call it, instead of a shmup. But essentially it's kind of the same thing. It's just instead of self-scrolling, you get to control the scrolling. I want to say there was a Mega Drive version of this game as well that never made it stateside. Or it might have been in beta, potentially. Yeah, a bit of a hidden gem. I think a lot of folks who like the Toaplan games really love this game. Really just because it's not quite as well known. You know, not quite as well known and still being a really, really quality game. Hard version? Yeah, I mean, it's not hard enough as it is. Some people, man, never satisfied. Yeah, it's definitely harder. Keep moving. Yeah, this is definitely for a modern audience. Have to be this hard. Yeah, let's check out this beta version. This will be interesting. Again, never seen this one. No. Oops. Didn't realize that was bottomless. Or didn't realize that was a pit. I'm sure it's not bottomless. Yeah, definitely good times. Nice, nice that manages to get back into the spotlight. Just one version of this. I've never heard of this game. What is this game? Different characters too. really good though. Again, very much a surprise for me. Didn't realize this even existed. This Batsugan. Again, favorite of Saturn owners. We got a very good version of this game. Not quite like the arcade game, but you know, just sort of like a different take on the arcade game. Something more appropriate for a home audience. Gino. Nice, love it. Classic game. So relevant for today's audience, obviously. So that, you know, it has more of the modern gameplay and aesthetic style. Special version. Oh, they're starting using the rapid fire one. There's that Dagoon. Last one on the list. We'll let it scroll left and right instead of turning on widescreen. Like I said, the widescreen option does make it harder. Oh yeah, I'm hitting that 32-bit scribe here. Really showing how graphics have evolved over time for Toaplan. Oh, on the art was always fun. Toaplan, regardless of the era, but the year they made the games. Number defined to the word error. But yeah, dumb people got it done. That's something to complain about. Well, really good. Good times. Okay, so while we stop it there, this is meowmurai. You've been watching Toaplan Arcade Collection Volume 1, running on Nintendo Switch 2. Yeah, really amazing set of games. There's not a single bummer in this batch, although again, you may not like necessarily some of the older ones like Tiger Heli. They're so slow paced, but I don't think there's a denying that it's not really well designed, and you know, if you can manage to be a little bit more patient with it, then it's a lot of fun. A lot of good hidden gems in this one too, things that I wasn't too familiar with as well. So yeah, definitely check it out. And for the price they're offering here for you know, this kind of late release of all these Toaplan Garage games, I think it's well worth the money. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.